Welcome to Sunday Express. Is Monday really a date with destiny for Azimio supporters? Well, the National Police Service thinks otherwise. It has declared the gathering illegal. We have the details lined up for you tonight.
Good evening. Indeed, as we wait for that particular day, this is not going to be happening just in here, Nairobi, Kenya, so to speak. We're also having similar demos across various countries in the African continent, including South Africa. But we'll be keeping tabs on what happens then tomorrow. Tonight, we're also going to be talking about something that we are shy to speak about, and this is abuse in our schools, especially gender-based violence that is taking place in our schools now that the children are home from midterm. How do we show up capacity for the students and the guardians?
A conversation will be coming up later after sports. But first things first, here are tonight's highlights.
It has to be to meet the tensions of the article, the Public Order Act of 2012. If it is not within the framework of that order, then it is illegal.
Opposition protests. Police declare Monday's demonstrations illegal as government assures Kenyans of their security.
Wherever you are, if you cannot come to Nairobi, demonstrate where you are, peacefully.
Unstoppable. Opposition leader Raila Odinga maintains the protests are on. And abled differently. Meet learner who uses her mouth to operate a laptop.
Baron Nabuli is a sign language interpreter. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Welcome to the broadcast.
I am Regina Manyara.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kioria Kindiki has assured Kenyans of their safety following planned opposition demonstrations that is slated for Monday.
Kindiki said security agencies will discharge their mandate of maintaining law and order to ensure no life or property is lost or destroyed.
Ahead of the planned demonstrations on Monday by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kioria Kindiki has advised Kenyans to continue with their activities uninterrupted. The Interior Cabinet Secretary urging Kenyans to allow security agencies to discharge their mandate of maintaining law and order amid the protests. Kindiki added that the government reiterates its commitment to respect, protect and promote all fundamental rights and freedoms guaranteed under the Constitution. Kindiki noted that security officials will prevent unauthorized access to all protected areas.
Good.
Earlier, Nairobi Police Boss Adamson Bungei termed the protest as illegal, adding they do not meet the threshold of the Public Order Act.
And if not authorized, it has to be to meet the tensions of the article, the Public Order Act of 2012. If it is not within the framework of that order, then it is illegal. So I want Kenyans to be guided, to be informed by the law, not by persons of personal interest, so that we remain as a country, because this is our country.
Police have equally denied small-scale traders in Nairobi from holding counter-demonstrations. The traders are wary and claim demonstrations will mean bad fortunes for their trade.
Sisi tunajua hao pia wako na haki yao ya kudemonstrate, lakini pia sisi tulikuwa tumekuja hapa ili tupatiwe permit ya peaceful demonstration ili tujue vile sisi wenyewe tutaweza kulinda biashara zetu, kwa sababu hapo ndo tunaweza kupata riziki yetu.
Now, staying on that, Azimio leader Raila Odinga maintains that the mass demonstrations in the capital, Nairobi, will go on despite police declaring the planned anti-government protests illegal.
Raila says the coalition notified the Inspector General of Police of the scheduled demonstrations over a week ago, dismissing assertions by the police in Nairobi that the notice was not served within the legal timeline of 72 hours.
Ahead of the planned protests by the opposition Monday,
University students,
Azimio la Umoja coalition leader Raila Odinga and his troops were in Kajiado for a Sunday service. Reacting to the police declaration of the demonstrations as illegal, Raila insisted the meeting is on as the coalition had served its notice a week ago.
Police kazi yao ni kulinda wananchi, sio kupatia leseni. Wakati polisi walikuwa wanapeana leseni ilikwisha na katiba ya ile mkongwe ambayo tulizika.
Raila says the demonstrations will be peaceful, warning police against actions that would be considered aggressive.
Hii sasa nataka wewe uombe polisi. Kesho mimi nitafanya mkutano pale. Njoni mlete usalama. Sasa the police wamekuwa notified and we will not be intimidated or blackmailed by the police.
50 assistant ministers CASs wameandikwa juzi. Hizo pesa mkiweka pamoja ni mabilioni ya pesa ambayo wangeweka kwa unga, bei ifanye nini? Iteremke.
You are the watchman of your area. Na kama wewe ni watchman na umeona hatari inakuja na unyamaze, damu imwagike ama imwagwe, hiyo damu iko mkononi mwako wewe kama watchman.
He has called on his supporters to come out in large numbers and congregate in the city to protest the high cost of living and demand for inclusion in the reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission.
And in the assembly, wherever you are, if you cannot come to Nairobi, demonstrate where you are, peacefully. But those who can come to Nairobi, come to Nairobi. Tuingie ndani ya Nairobi, tuonyeshe hao waoga na kwamba Kenya ni kubwa kushinda hao.
Now, with less than 20 hours to go to Monday, President William Ruto has assured Kenyans of the security ahead of the planned mass demonstrations by the opposition.
The president has further directed the police service to ensure the rights of all citizens are protected, including those who will take part in the protests and those who choose to continue with their daily activities.
He, however, cautioned the opposition to act within the constitution. Achola Simon with the details.
Less than 12 hours before the opposition hit the streets for the anti-government protest, President William Ruto has assured Kenyans of their security.
Askari polisi watafanya kazi yao kulingana na sheria. Our policemen and women are professional people. They are going to ensure that the right of everybody is protected.
The president is fully in charge. He defeated those fellows when they had all the instruments of power. He now has them.
The president has maintained that his administration will protect life and private property in line with the constitution. The president challenged the opposition to act within the law as they carry out the demonstrations, but hastened to warn that the government will not hesitate to act within the law if any aggression is channeled towards life and private property.
You now want to extend to terrorize the people of Kenya using chaos, using violence, using demonstrations, using anarchy. When you have absolutely no reason, it will not happen. We will not allow you.
The president spoke as he joined Kenya Kwanza supporters in a Thanksgiving interdenominational prayers in Kapsabet, Nandi County.
Mheshimiwa rafiki yangu Bwana Odinga hana sababu yeyote ya kutupiganisha, kulete maandamano, kulete fujo na kulete vita. Hana sababu yeyote.
The leaders at the forum would lash out at the opposition chief for what they termed as act of malice aimed at destabilizing a fragile economy. They want the president to act decisively and ensure no law is broken during the demonstrations.
But please, Uhuru Kenyatta, nakuomba, within the few remaining hours, look for your brother, tell him to stop that nonsense of getting people to Nairobi to come and destroy property because it's immoral, it's unacceptable, it's ungodly, and it cannot be accepted in a normal society.
Monday is a working day. I and all the people here, we shall be in our offices, we shall be on duty on Monday so that we can serve the people of Kenya.
He knows the problems he left with us. To sort out a bill of 900 billion, to raise money to make sure that the economy can support the road projects and many other projects, requires a peaceful environment.
Kwamba, the same way it is your right to picket and demonstrate, it is also my right to go about my duties uninterrupted and work without being bothered by those who are demonstrating. Your Excellency, Mr. President, you must now exercise your authority without fear, without favor, without ill will, to protect the lives and property of Kenyans.
Opposition Chief Raila Odinga is set to lead his supporters in anti-government protest aimed at agitating the lowering of high cost of living and comprehensive electoral reforms at Chola Simon Sunday Express, Kapsabet, Nandi County.
Well, quite an interesting turn again. There will be, our eyes are out, obviously. We'll be covering the events tomorrow. But moving on, the clergy have called on President William Ruto to offer progressive leadership by reaching out to his political nemesis and opposition leader, Raila Odinga, for the sake of peace in the country.
Now, the Conference of Catholic Bishops at the same time urged the opposition leader Raila Odinga to embrace patriotism and call off the planned protest. Timothy Kipnusu with the details.
Spiritual leaders have joined other Kenyans in calling for sobriety and restraint over the mass protest pushed by the opposition leader Raila Odinga.
We as a country must decide that we are not going back to that slippery path that leads to violence.
Led by Nairobi Archbishop Philip Anyolo, the clergy said that while the Constitution provides for rallies and picketing, the freedom does not allow forceful takeover or destabilization of a constitutional government.
We Kenyans must reject the venom of hatred that is becoming commonplace in our politicians' mouths.
At the Stewards Revival Pentecostal Church in Nairobi, congregants called on opposition leader Raila Odinga to shelve Monday demonstrations.
Wale ambao wamewekeza katika nchi hii, tukianza kwenda kwa maandamano wataanza kuona nchi hii ni nchi ya aina gani. Ndio tunaomba Raila, wachana na maandamano, patia Rais William Ruto nafasi atengeneze serikali yake at least hata kama ni mwaka.
Sisi hatutaki, sababu maandamano ni ya kuleta vita na kuleta watu wengine wauliwe, kutakuwa na mabobaya.
Remarks echoed separately by Kericho Makueni and Narok clergy.
I think there is a better way to bring it out rather than demonstration. Demonstration every time has killed innocent people. It has destroyed people's properties, and that one our leaders know.
Tunajua pengine our former prime minister ako na nia nzuri, lakini kucontrol hawa maelfu ya watu na kuambia itakuwa kazi ngumu.
Tunaomba kuwe na amani, kwa maana maandamano inaletaga hasara, haitusaidii na chochote.
Political leaders also joining the fray.
So nataka kuambia baba wa maandamano, andamane kesho na kesho kutwa na milele, lakini State House haingii. Na walikuwa wanajiuliza itakuwaje William akue president wa nchi ya Kenya ambaye hatujui baba yake ni nani.
Yule alikuwa rais wetu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, kwa sababu tulikuwa tunampenda sana. Wakati huo tungetaka yeye aongee. Kwa nini anamenyamaza? Kwa sababu alipokuwa Kisumu alisema huyu mtu ndiye mkubwa wa chama chake. Kwa hivyo wakati huu tungetaka yeye aseme hako na hii maandamano ama hayako.
Women leaders also added their voice to the debate.
What we need today and what we are asking them to provide is innovative, compassionate, focused leadership.
I recommend upholding democracy, negotiations, diplomacy in this country so that young people are not the tool to be used to drive an agenda that does not end up benefiting them directly.
But is this the right avenue to use? There are many avenues that Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga can use to dialogue with the president.
In the meantime, Matatu Sacco operators have put on notice drivers who will offer their vehicles for hire to ferry protesters to Nairobi tomorrow, saying they risk losing their jobs.
Sisi tunataka watu yote tuwafanyie kazi, tuwape service ya transport bila kuwa na matatizo yoyote. Wakati maandamano imefanywa, kazi yetu huadhirika sana.
Timothy Kipnusu for Sunday Express.
Well, so it'll be an interesting day tomorrow.
But we'll see how it pans out. It's time for us to take a breather.
And when we come back, other than speaking news, we're going to be putting matters of gender-based violence in our schools into perspective. Do not go away.
Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto. Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Kisha weka star na nambari yako ya simu. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000.
Aulali.
Lipa kisha subiri draw. Welala. Nitakutimizia ndoto zako. Milioni 2 usiamini. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
Kuna hizi kampuni zenye zinajua mali niko, kitu nimekula breko, kitu ninasema sahi, kitu nitakula next week on Thursday, pesa niko nazo kwa account, siblings wangu, the list is endless. Na mnajuaje hii information? Kwani mnani stock?
Lakini nikuulize, kabla ya kupress allow, ulijiuliza hii information inatumiwa kwa njia gani? Kabla ya kuallow, hakikisha umesoma terms and conditions.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na ofisi ya Data Protection Commissioner.
Jenny?
Yeah?
I need to talk to you now.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't your fault. And sooner or later, I'd beg you to come back.
She knows everything?
She knows you helped her.
What I mean is, does she know you're pretending to be her? Don't worry. Since I promised you, I will keep it a secret for you. I've noticed that most people don't care about printed media anymore. They prefer new media and also social networking.
But we already have. Hey, what's wrong, Charlie? Hey!
Every Monday evening, we take you back where the action happened live. We'll let you know what you missed, even if you were present.
And our goal is to continue supporting our own.
From the latest celebrity buzz,
fashion,
music,
and all manner of youth talents,
the Grapevine cameras rove all week to bring you the latest in the enormous entertainment scene.
Watch Grapevine every Monday at 10 p.m. and the rerun on Tuesday at 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1, baby.
Engage us on Facebook and Twitter, #Grapevine on KBC. Let us know what is happening in your area code, because you know what they say, if you did not see it on Grapevine,
then it most probably never happened. Bah!
Ain't nobody gotta tell you what you gotta do.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sunday Express. In a world where disability is seen as obstacles to success, there are those who refuse to allow their physical limitations define them.
Christine Kavale, a student at Thika Technical Training Institute, is one of them. Despite significant challenges due to cerebral palsy, Kavale has found a unique way to study in pursuit of her dreams.
In this special feature, Trevor Ngendo shares Kavale's story of hope and unwavering determination to break the barriers.
Meet 24-year-old Christine Kavale, a student at Thika Technical Training College. Kavale has cerebral palsy, a condition that affects her mobility, and she uses this electronic wheelchair donated by a Good Samaritan to move around. She is pursuing a course in Human Resources Management at the tertiary institution's Virtual and Extension Learning Department, and only comes here once or twice a term to physically present her exam papers. We follow her to her residence in Thika, Makongeni Phase 6, where she shares her story.
Wakati nilizaliwa sikulia, so I think hapo ndo shida ilichokea.
The condition makes it impossible to write using her hands, but not even that can stop her aspirations.
mwalimu akidictate notes siwezi andika na pace yake, so I had to sit ningoje mwalimu afunze tu nikiwa nimekaa, and then after ametoka I have to create my own time kuandika notes. So unaona, so you find that most of the time natumia kuandika than kusoma. Nikifanya KCSE mwalimu had to write a letter to NEC exams, nikaruhusiwa kufanya exam na laptop.
So determined she is that she uses her mouth to operate her laptop and phone to access online classes.
Ingine, so nakaa class iko 7. Kitambo niamke to prepare myself. Saa ingine naingia na kuta lecturer kwa class already. Kutype notes. I saw it hectic. So nikamwacha ninge distance learning. I'm very comfortable with it. Nishazoea.
Kavale is the last born among 9 siblings and was diagnosed with cerebral palsy as an infant and has persevered throughout her studies, which have been facilitated through well wishes.
Sikutaka kukaa home. I knew I should go to a university or college. So nimaliza KCSE, home hakuna do ya fee, challenges mingi, so nili contact MP wa Kitui, Madam Nyenze. So nikamwelezea issue yangu, nimefanya KCSE, nimepita, nataka kwenda college na hakuna fee, and I thank God, Madam alinisaidia sana.
Despite facing various challenges, including lack of school fees, Kavale has never given up hope to continue learning.
Mimi nafanya HR. Nilichoose juu iko in some way connected to law, could deal with humans. Na ninakuanga interest sana ku deal with humans, ku serve. I just want to be the best mother. Yeah, I want to be a role model kwa watoto wangu, kwa generation zangu, and to the community.
In this single room, Kavale lacks essential furniture, which further complicates navigation through her studies.
Sina meza, sina hadi kiti naweza kalia, unaona, so ni stress. So huwa nabidi nasomea huku ndani kwa mattress chini, sina bed.
Through sheer grit and determination, Kavale has found innovative ways to learn and overcome obstacles in her path.
Most of the things we ufanya, I use my mouth, but nakuanga careful jenye nafanya. Maybe nisiweke kitu mbaya kwa mdomo ni ini affect.
Her appeal to well wishers is to assist her in paying rent and acquiring a new battery for her wheelchair, which is slowly wearing out. She encourages persons with disabilities that they too can triumph over adversity by accepting their situations and never giving up in life.
Kwa able different situations ya mtu, so kitu inakwanga tu ni kujiaccept. Take it positive. You always change situation. You have to take it positive. Take life positive. Do the things you can do. Most of us, kuna vitu tunaweza fanya yenye au wengine wako sawa hizi fanya. So ukikaa kujihurumia, unaogopa watu, utasaidika, but you just have to accept it, move on, take life positive, and utakuwa tu sawa.
Trevor Ngendo for Sunday Express, Nairobi.
The small things that we take for granted.
You know, I'm just here wondering if you had to use your cell phone using your tongue, would you?
Wow. And such an inspiring story.
You know?
That's a wonderful lady, and we wish her all the best. Now, public-private partnership has been identified as a key enabler of attaining the affordable housing that targets to ensure Kenyans live in habitable houses affordably.
We embarked on a journey to look at interventions by non-state actors and their impact in addressing the housing challenge for the vulnerable in society.
In Homa Bay County, we met Peter Okango, who is a widower and a father of 9. He has no stable source of income, and due to the ongoing drought, casual jobs are also hard to come by. This is what he and his children have called home for years.
Nilikuwa nafikiria mingi ilipokuwa uwezo ndio ulikuwa hakuna. Sasa mimi nilikuwa nasema sasa tafanyaje? Na hakuna kitu chochote. Hata vile mimi naweza kupata pesa ya kujenga naye hata nyumba nyingine hakuna. Sasa mimi nilikuwa nimeishi tu kwa tabu, sababu mimi nilikuwa nafikiria mpaka hata hiyo sikia yangu yako kwa naingia, sababu hakuna kitu, hakuna kwa mkono na mtu hawezi kusaidia wewe.
His home was a source of ridicule for him in the community. In Laikipia County, Selina Akai's children were for years adversely affected by the status of their house.
Nakwambia mvua ikinyesha, nilikuwa navaa gambut ndani ya nyumba. Watoto wangu hawakuwa wanasoma. Vitabu hata nadaiwa sasa hivi vitabu 25 kutoka primary mpaka secondary.
Her children posted very poor grades in school. Poor housing has serious impacts on human life, from health to a sense of hopelessness to catastrophic risks.
Hiyo nyumba ikakuja ikapomoka. Unaona hii maji ile inaingia hapa kwa hii varanda. Tena huko nje ikapomoka yote. Ikanipiga nikiwa na bibi hapo ndani. Tuliinuliwa na mtoto yangu.
Ultimately, this affects a country's human resource and the affected ability to contribute optimally to socio-economic development. Habitat for Humanity Kenya, that recently marked 40 years of its transformational story in Kenya, is doing its part to change this narrative, one person at a time.
Sasa hata naweza kuta hata mtu atakuja na tembelea mimi kama sababu amejua tu Okango ameishi malizi waje tutembelee Okango. Sasa hii mimi naona hata ngao nyinyi amejenga hivi nyumba na tena nyinyi amebeba jina yangu juu. Sasa msai mimi ameonekana kama ni mtu.
Hata watoto wangu wamebadilika. Msichana ule alikuwa mkorofi, anasema sitasomea hapa, sitafanya nini, juu ya matope, juu vitabu yake ime. Sasa anasoma sahi. Ako form 4 sahi. Anasoma. Na mpaka principal jana aliniita, akaniambia msichana wako sijui nini naitwa improve. Ameongeza na anaendelea. Kaambia principal asante. Sasa nimeona mabadiliko. Na naomba Mungu sana anibadilishe hata mimi ndani ya moyo wangu. Na anibadilishe. Nibadilike niwe kama hii nyumba. Mungu amenisaidia naye.
The government set a goal to construct over 200 housing units every year to bridge the housing gap. And while the jury is still out on the realization of this pledge, collaborations of the housing sector players remains the necessary engine that will drive the vehicle towards the realization of decent and affordable housing in Kenya. Caroline Kamau for Sunday Express.
Affordable housing, we still remain with a deficit of over 200,000 housing units on year. Now, Turkana County is classified under arid and semi-arid regions.
The last 5 seasons of failed rains has seen residents suffer food and water shortage.
Livestock has not been spared either, with the vagaries of poor weather.
Judith Akolo reports on the rainfall that came to Turkana in a storm and swept through the Manyatas, flooding them and rendering the roads impassable.
Due to the effects of climate change, the rainfall is now coming in cycles of storms of heavy rainfall that is also short-lived and droughts that last several seasons. This is Lokangai in Turkana West Sub-County, an area that has suffered droughts over several seasons ago. But the unexpected downpour came with its share of misery. It swept through Manyatas as well as the nearby Emitaibai Primary School, in which the playground was flooded, as well as classrooms, handing the learners an early midterm holiday.
Nanyesa laga na mwaga hata nyumba yangu na mwaga maji. Hata shule naingia maji. Mtoto amekaya nyumbani.
The KBC Channel 1 crew had a rough time wading through the muddy stretch of clay loam soils of the Lotikipi Plains. Judith Akolo, The Sunday Express.
The rains have come finally, but again, Mother Nature proving that she needs to be protected, otherwise she will be very vicious.
Question is, are we harvesting the water?
That's another question. All right, First Lady Rachel Ruto has urged youth to be at the forefront in championing transformation in the country.
The First Lady was speaking during the dedication of the refurbished Good News Nation Hall in Kasarani.
These and other stories in our County News Roundup.
Lady Rachel Ruto has challenged the youth to embrace religious beliefs despite the fast-changing world that may present different options. She added that good deeds will shape and prepare them to be the leaders that the country needs for the future. The First Lady was speaking during the dedication service of the Good News Mission in Kasarani.
We can start changing our mind, you know. We have a good country. We have the best country in the world. And I mean, we have many things that we can do even as a nation, and especially the young people. How I pray that the Lord will help us to have a mindset change in the things that we do so that we can transform our communities.
Elsewhere, farmers from Nyandarua have a reason to smile following the promise by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi to ensure that they easily access the released government subsidized fertilizer. Linturi further assured farmers across the country that the government has enough subsidized fertilizer ahead of the planting season.
Kutoka wiki ijayo mtaanza kupata SMS sasa zenu ili mjifikishe huko uchukue fertilizer wakati ufahao na ili muweze kupanda viazi yenu ama mimea ingine ile yote mnayokuza huko.
Meanwhile, people who have been soliciting money from members of the public in Kiambu's Thika area, Thika West Deputy County Commissioner Mboga Mathioya said his office will not hesitate to take action on such characters, noting that the town has over the months seen an influx in the number of beggars, with some making a fortune out of unsuspecting passers-by. He was speaking during the donations of trade tools to persons with disability in Thika, Kiambu County.
Tumechukua hatua kupitia kwa chama cha Disabled Society kwamba tuhakikishe kwamba tumeondoa wale ambao hawafai kuwa kwa hizi street.
Nimesema asante sana kwa serikali kwa vile wametusaidia tupate hizi vyombo zetu za kujisaidia sisi wenyewe.
And it's a relief to a section of parents from Meru County following donations of school items from Abodhogochi West Ward Member of County Assembly Patrick Mudhuri through his foundation. The donations have benefited over 250 Form 1 students who are yet to resume school after a midterm break.
Shule wasome vizuri, wafanye vyema ili wazazi wao wafurahie, na ni wanafunzi wote wale walifanya class 8. Tia wale wanaenda day school ama boarding school ni wote wale wamefanya class 8.
Finally, the government has been urged to take stern action against rogue insurance companies not complying with the Insurance Regulatory Authority. Stakeholders in the matatu sector say matatu owners were incurring huge losses while others are losing their properties under underwriters that have not complied with the stricter capital requirements introduced in June 2020.
Kama kuna biashara ambayo inapigwa kodi kubwa ni matatu, kuna advance tax, kuna hii mambo ya counties, kuna LSR na kuna nini. Na mashida mingi sana. Kwa hivyo kama serikali ingetukuma tu kidogo, hii ni biashara ambayo itasaidia nchi na isaidie mwananchi.
Opicho Chemtai for Sunday Express.
You know what the Bible says in the good book, that by the mention of a name, Jesus, the blind shall see and the crippled shall walk. Now in Kiambu, clearly, they walked. This time Jesus is not involved.
And you wonder why we have trust issues, right?
All right. Time for us to take a breather. Of course, the Recover Back Spot is up next.
As well as conversations around gender-based violence in our schools. Do not go away.
Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto. Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Kisha weka star na nambari yako ya simu. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000.
Aulali.
Lipa kisha subiri draw. Welala. Nitakutimizia ndoto zako. Milioni 2 usiamini. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
Yakadambea werarkan.
Message. Nimesikia tu fununu kwamba hii Seldigan by usiku haitakuwepo.
Sikiza.
Nikamdosia nikasirika, kwa hivyo itabidi tumekaza mguu kidogo, sawa?
Ibuchi kamera za border crossing point zote sahi.
Ati?
Kamera za border crossing point zote sahi.
Tumechezwa.
Roll out! Move! Huyu jamaa unaona akiwa credible kweli?
Tuta find out soon.
Nini mbaya na wewe? Wewe ndio unanifanya kabisa ni afraid because the way you remind me of my mama.
Niangalia na hiyo macho yako ukaona ni kama hakuna mtu umeona.
Sasa unakuja hapa hata utoangi tip na saa yote ni deni hata ni ulijua kitu inaitwa buffet.
Naijua. Buffet chini watu wazee wanajibunika nayo. Hii inakaa kama blanketi ni nono kidogo. Niko chini ya miti mali. Kuna miti niko chini yake ya green. Niache upusi.
Well, it's time for us to get sporty. The inaugural National Olympic Committee of Kenya Beach Game ended today at the Buntwani waterfront in Malindi. The two-day event attracted over 600 athletes and more than 100 officials from various sports federations in the country.
National Olympic Committee of Kenya Beach Games ended today in Malindi. Kenya Prisons defeated Mombasa Prisons 2-0 to clinch men's volleyball title. The women's title went to Mombasa Queens after beating Pwani University 2-0 in the final match. In other games, Coast Queens won the handball title after defeating Glorious Queens in the finals, while Mombasa Wolves defeated Mtwapa Youth 2-0 to win the men's handball title. Kenya Prisons team won the judo title after beating KDF team 7-0.
Timu ya Mombasa imekuja nambari 3. Nambari 2 ilikuwa ni timu ya Ulinzi na washindi wa leo ni wa Magereza.
County government ya Kilifi iweze kujizatiti zaidi, iweze kuja na mikakati ya kuinua ama kupanua vipaji vya vijana especially upande wa michezo.
Meanwhile, World Under 23,000 meter steeplechase champion Faith Cherotich was celebrated by the sporting fraternity for her success in her athletic career in the last 1.5 years. Cherotich, who bagged 5 medals in a span of 18 months, was honored at the Cadet Athletics Camp in Londiani, Kericho County. The 18-year-old won a gold medal in the 3,000 meter steeplechase in the World Under 20 Athletics Championships in Cali, Colombia last year. She also won a bronze medal at the World Under 20 Athletics Championships held in Nairobi in 2021. Cherotich is currently preparing for the Diamond League Series, which kicks off in Doha in May. For Sunday Express, I am Nora Mungi.
Karan Patel, navigated by Tosif Khan, are the winners of the second round of the Africa Rally Championship, the Equator Rally, which ended today in Voi. The rally attracted more than 15 drivers from the continent.
First place, congratulations once again, Karan Patel and Tosif Khan, your winners of the 2023 ARC Equator Rally.
Patel in a Ford Fiesta Rally 2 dominated the morning loop after winning all stages. He posted the quickest time of 2 hours 20 minutes, beating Nasir Yassin, who finished second in a time of 2 hours 25 minutes. Jasmeet Chana, navigated by Ravinda Chana, were third, while Uganda's Jas Magat, navigated by Joseph Kamya, settled the 4th position.
It's a great feeling. I know for sure everyone in the team is very, very happy. And you know, rallies are not only won on the stage; they're won in the garage where we prepare the car, in service when we're servicing the car between stages.
Jeremiah Wahome, Hamza Anwar, Makre Kimanthi, Akib Viran, and Jas Magat were forced to retire due to mechanical problems. Focus now shifts to Pearl of African Rally, which is scheduled to be held between 5th and 7th of May in Uganda. Kenya has won the Africa Rally Champions title 7 times between 1981 and 2022. Shekar Meita was the first ever winner in 1981, while the last Kenyan to win the title was Carl Tundo in 2021.
A message to all motorsport fans: come and enjoy motorsport.
but please don't drink and drive. If you're going to drink, have someone else drive, because the key thing with motorsport, the message that we want to portray is road safety.
I mean, we are out here in Voi. You've seen the economic impact this sport has had to Voi. So it's not really just about the sport itself, but the entire ecosystem around the sport.
Other Kenyans winners include 3 times champions Manvir Sain, Kisumu's Jasi Chade, and Don Smith. For Sunday Express, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
And AFC Leopards legends drew a 4-4 with Evergreen FC in the opening game of the 2023 Wazee Pamoja League match played at the Camp Toyoyo grounds in Nairobi. Both sides and 8 other teams were fully kitted by league sponsors Bongo Bongo Bet, who also injected 1 million shillings in the competition. Expected to run for 10 months.
The opening game of this year's Wazee Pamoja League between AFC Leopards legends and Evergreen FC ended in a 4-all draw. Former Harambee Stars legends Maurice Sunguti, Wilson Anakea, Washington Hamati and Ezekiel Akwana netted for Leopards legends. In reply, Evergreen scored through Flavian Otieno, Tyson Onyango and Cisco Caleb, who netted a brace. Both sides, including 8 other teams, were fully kitted by league sponsors Bongo Bongo Bet, who also supported the league, running for 10 months with 1 million shillings.
As we continue to grow, we also want to take initiative and do something for the community, as well as try and get a client base for ourselves. Yeah, so when we got this approach from Wazee Pamoja, we felt that this is a really good initiative that speaks on mental health issues and also using sports to help the youth get out of crime and that kind of lifestyle.
The competition will be played in various designated venues, namely the Camp Toyoyo grounds, Jericho grounds, Absa grounds along Thika Highway, Tena grounds and Tumaini Primary School grounds in Umoja Estate. Other teams in the league, open to players from 35 years and above, are Comrades FC, Prisons FC, Absa Bank Kenya FC, Tipples FC, Jambo FC, Longe Diamor FC, Madiwa Wazee FC and 5Q FC.
The national soccer team Harambee Stars is breathing fire ahead of an international friendly match with Iran on the 28th of this month at the Azadi Stadium in Tehran. Head coach Anjin Firat said they chose to face Iran, ranked 24th in FIFA World Rankings, due to the quality of their game.
Harambee Stars coach Ejin Firat says the team needs time to rebuild as they make a comeback into international arena after Kenya was banned from international competitions by FIFA in February last year. He urged Kenyans to be patient and give him time to rebuild the team.
I don't want to sell you dreams. Let's face the reality and think about how we can go this way to make dreams come true.
Kenya has qualified for the African Cup of Nations tournament only twice in 31 years. The coach also hinted that he has included Montreal's midfielder Victor Wanyama in his plans for the team.
Of course, it's normal. If you make any plans, it affects everybody, okay? But it's my job to find a way, and I trust the players.
Mathare United defender David Ochieng said that the team has trained their guns on beating Iran, a side which was participating in last year's World Cup in Qatar.
They're a good team. Making it to the World Cup, it's difficult. So if you play any team that is playing in the World Cup, of course it will be a good friendly match and a good match for the national team of Harambee Stars.
Well, that's how we put a cap on sports. But of course, Regina reminds me to be very careful to mention that her team has proceeded to the semis. Of course, they were playing against Fulham. The game ended 3-1. I think that makes Regina a very happy person. So let me just hand it over to you to continue with the interview, Regina.
Thank you very much, JJ, there for at least mentioning that, Glory Manchester United, we did it. We are through to the FA semi-finals. But that is that in as far as sports is concerned. We're going to be talking about what we're terming as taboo. We do not talk about it, but it is happening. And this is in regard to gender-based violence in our schools. And since the children are on for midterm, as a parent and a guardian, in the highly unlikely event that it happens, that your child actually is abused in school, what are the symptoms? What are the signs you need to look out for? And how do you seek redress? That's the conversation tonight, and we welcome your feedback. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. To take us through this conversation is none other than Catherine Kioria, who is a teen youth mentor. Thank you very much for making time to be here with us. Now, what is the status report when it comes to matters of gender-based violence in our schools?
As you have just said, it's a taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's happening on the ground. And that's why we are hearing children that are committing suicide, because they have gone, they have been abused, they have been battered, and they just want to keep quiet. And they're talking at a very appropriate time where we have first years. There's the former ones that have gone into school, now they have come home for midterm. And what I want to encourage the parents is to forget about anything ever been a taboo. It's no longer taboo, it is happening. So the parent will ask 3 questions. How was it in the term? The child may not answer or may answer.
How was it in the term?
Yes.
Let me interject. There are three steps, just so that we can put also this into perspective with our viewers. We also want to chime in this conversation. Tell us your experience. If you're a parent or a guardian, have you asked these 3 questions that you're going to be putting into perspective, and what were the answers that you received from a child? Then maybe we might arrest a situation that is bound to have a mark in their lives going forward. To you.
Good. How was it that part of the term? How is it going, and how do you foresee it going? If you see your child getting withdrawn from that conversation, you have to think twice. And I normally advise to parents to have eyes that are going to hear, because children may have been done things and have been told to shut up. And of course, parents, we don't want to listen. We shout back at them, so they cow back. So you have to apply that eye that I call eyes that are hearing. Our parents had eyes that could talk, so that you're able to engage your child. And now that the children have come home for midterm, and we know that bullying happens in school, and not only in schools, but also at home, among siblings, and even we parents, we are fighting. And children will see, children will learn, children will hear, children will copy. So as you ask your child that question, make sure that you're so connected with them. You're so connected with them that you're able to feel even what is not spoken. When you're connected with anybody, then you can be able to correct them. Unfortunately, we tend to want to correct all through. And the big question they'll ask is, ulikuwa unabuliwa, who are you? We have to know that the bully person is the one that has a problem with themselves. They are not very happy with themselves. And this bully person is not anybody else other than a child that we have brought up, because they are hurting. And we know that hurting people will hurt others.
Hurt people actually hurt others.
Yes,
but now I'm imagining I ask my child these 3 questions, and they're evasive, or they even break down and actually confess that heinous acts were done upon them, or meted upon them. As a guardian and a parent, I think that's the worst nightmare a parent or a guardian would be going through. But then, how do we seek redress?
It's a very good nightmare, because at least you are somewhere. Because when the child was in school, they were wondering, what do I do when I get home? Now they have opened, or they have coiled back. How do we salvage what we have? Fortunately, now we have people like myself who are mentors. But again, we also know we have some mentors that are tormentors. Again, now we know that Kenyans, we are appreciating counseling, and we can go out to churches and we can talk. We can bring in a third party. I was talking about now we are connected to correct. Now, again, we communicate to them, so that when we have communicated, we are able to correspond together. And you can look at your child and get to know, are you being bullied? Are you being molested? By the way they behave. If the child, as they were going to school, they were excited, even as when they were coming home, they were excited, but now it's a Sunday evening, They are like in a dream. They don't want to go back to school. You have to ask yourself why. And it is even worse, Regina, when you return your child to school and they break down into tears. Or anybody that had stopped bedwetting, and then all suddenly they have started again bedwetting, you have to know this abuse that is happening. What we need to do is get what the teenagers will say, na kufeel. We have to start feeling our children even when emotionally they are not talking to us. Yes.
And that is very difficult, especially when it comes to teens. Because teens are more reserved. They're still oscillating between childhood and adulthood. It's a mixed bag of several bones in there. But then how do we get them to the forefront to trust? Because we've been taught as parents, you're actually told you need to apply tough love. But then at this point, is it time to apply tough love or love and a listening ear?
If you have not had the tough love as they were growing, because a teenager did not wake up today become a teenager, you grew all together. If you have not been growing all through, you have to use other tactics of coming into their space and just ask a vague question. How was it in school? Anybody got bullied in school? Who are your friends? And what are your marks telling us? So that now you can have the confidence of the child. But again, we have to make sure that our children enjoy our safe space at home. They have to realize that home is the best place to run into, and not only to run into where they can get a solution. But again, now we also know that everybody has stress, even as tomorrow we are saying what happens now. So we have to make sure we understand who a child is. And in life, a child will always admire 5 things. They want to have fun. As they have fun, they also have lies. And if you are not careful, lies will grow up with our children. They also love dramas. They love copying each other, and they want to have fashion. So even as they are telling us they are being bullied, you have to apply what I said earlier, eyes that will hear. But again, now you also need to understand your child. Walk into their room, a teenager, they'll slam the doors. As they slam the doors, you have to apply humor. As you parent, you have to be very humorous, so that now even as they are annoyed, you'll be able to dig below the skin or the mask that they are wearing. But again, you have to tell them, people do not get bullied because they are weak. They are bullied because you have a problem in that person that is bullying them. Because we looked at it like it's a taboo. But because it is happening, it's no longer taboo. We have to tell them, can you speak to your teacher in case it happens? Now you're assuming it has not happened. You tell them, can you speak to your teacher? And they'll say, I'm not very good a friend to that class teacher. This is the teacher in charge of CU, CA, and guidance and counseling, so that you can show them avenues of the same. But again, now we don't want to forget that we have toddlers also that are being bullied. And we know that a child that is only 2 years old, they'll be able to sing happy birthday to me. So you have to now empower her, to enable her to defend herself by telling her nobody should smack you, nobody should look at you with bad eyes. The 2-year may not be able to understand that, but by the time they are getting to 3 years, they know they know their boundaries. You give them a toy, they are so possessive with it, so that you can now tell them, this is who you are. As you're growing up, nobody should do that to you. But again, now even as we talk that, it's not on a bully. We know there is sexual harassment, they're being molested, they're being defiled in the comfort of our home. So that now as a child is growing up, we are protecting them. By what we are telling them, we are preparing them, we are preventing them, so that we shall not regret as we repair. And I normally sum it with 12 gates, where we tell them they have eyes, they have a nose, they have a mouth, they have ears, they have their breast, they have their heart, they have their navel, they have their private part, and the private part behind, and the legs, and the skin and the heart, so that they can get to know, this is who I am. But again, now when we come to teenagers, they have their items in school. We tell them nobody should take it without you knowing, and that is why we label them. They belong to you. Report to the school teacher. If they don't hear you, report again. Check for an avenue to communicate with somebody else in that same school.
The issue is these cases highly go unreported. And how then, we have said we teach them at home. We tell them what is right, what is appropriate. But then we all know the situation in school is totally different. I went through the system. I went through boarding school. It's quite different than what we are experiencing right now. Things on ground are different. And I read somewhere that you can have kind of a secret communication code with your child. Would this help? That you sit down and have a child, you have a safe word that a child can use with you and no one else can actually tell what it is you're discussing.
The mistake we can do now is parent the way we were parented.
Okay.
But even as we parent differently, discipline and manners and confidence should not be compromised. So you must make sure you feel, remember the word I said, you feel your child so that they can be able to confine in you. But again, remember I said that they also love drama. Could they be creating an imaginary thing? But we cannot afford to assume anything because it's a very fragile generation. A generation that thinks that suicide is an escape of matters, so that we can have a working relationship with them. We can have that message even if they have not spoken. I called it eyes that will hear.
That hear.
Yes.
Eyes that hear.
Yes.
Now, as we're working towards the closing of this conversation, I'm imagining a parent and a guardian right now is struggling. A Form 1, the child has come back. They've never been in Form 1 before. They're seeing some changes in their children. And we've already highlighted the questions to ask. Now, in the event that actually their child went through one form of abuse or another, how then do we, increase their capacity to get their children off this trauma, this space?
Good. Now, if they have been traumatized, we have to understand that they need to go and see a mentor or a counselor. And then as they go to see the counselor, they have to open up. And of course, teenagers do not want to rush into trusting anybody. So the counselor, the mentor, has to come into their space and assure them of confidentiality and of their good mental wellness. But in the eventuality of this child has gone through trauma and they are defiant, they are saying, I don't want to go back to that school. Parent, please, we have to consider, because we have pushed our children to go back to the school, they were running away and they have ended up committing suicide. But I also want to tell them that suicide is a horrible, terrible, permanent solution to a temporary problem. Can they talk? You are better off being looked like a coward, like a weakling, instead of going back with your trauma and you sit back and you condemn yourself. Parent, let me give you one tip. If you see your child that had finished urinating on bed and they have gone back, that is a screaming sign of trauma.
Of trauma.
Yes. Or even the one that loses everything. Today your blouse is gone, your shoes are gone, you have basically nothing because they're not able to concentrate, they're not feeling very, very safe with themselves. Yes.
I like what you have said. That's a serious sign. Back to bed wetting or loss of property where they would have had one.
Yes.
Now, as we come to a close, Madam Catherine, is it the high time that you had learning institutions now also invest in counselor, professional counselors, so that we can address this issue of mental wellness, especially for our children in school?
Yeah, actually, that should have been done like yesterday. But again, as they come in to counsel these children, they have to come to their level. Children do not want people that come and talk big. They want people that can be able to relate with them. They want people that can be able to hammer and harmonize them. But even you as a mother, as a father, as a guardian, you have to apply that skills of hammering and harmonizing. It is very true. The world is changing every day. Here we are now, we are hearing even of what the Supreme Court ruled about LGBTQ. So we have to do a forthright, open talk to our children, even as we counsel them, as we talk to them. And what I call out to every parent there is to be a hot parent. Even with that counseling, with that mentoring, be a hot counselor, a hot mentor. HOT is an acronym where you're very honest, where you're very open, and where you're very truthful with the children that you're talking to at any given time.
Indeed, I like that. A challenge tonight as a parent and as a guardian from our speaker tonight being none other than Catherine Kioria, who is a teen and youth mentor. A challenge to all of us who are parents is that we have to be hot. I do not necessarily mean in how you appear, in how you dress, but you have to be an honest, open, and truthful parent where candid matters are concerned, especially now that we have been given this opportunity to bring up children who are going to shape the future of worlds and generations to come. We've been having this conversation right here on KBC Channel 1. Thank you very much for your feedback, and I want to leave this set tonight without before I leave, actually, I want to say thank you very much, ma'am, for your time.
You're most welcome.
But now we end this particular conversation looking at inroads that have been made to secure our wildlife. We had the death of Sudan, the only male northern white rhino, left only 2 females of this subspecies in the world. With no chances of reproduction, the subspecies became functionally extinct. But as Alvin Kaunda reports, there are frantic efforts to save this subspecies from extinction through the round-the-clock protection of the 2 remaining females, as well as vitro fertilization using eggs from the females and semen extracted from Sudan. To end this particular bulletin with, so be sure to log into our website for further details in regard to what has been making headlines. And just to remind you that KBC is going to be on hand to give you updates on what is going to be happening tomorrow, a day that is marked by demonstrations that are going to be led by the opposition. You have been watching Sunday Express. I am Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant week ahead.
Kupata kumpenda mtu kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *812*501#. Mapenzi si